think a lot of us start this path, right, with this idea of wanting to better our experience, better our lives. For me personally, it all really started when I was 16 and I read The Secret, where you could manifest anything that you wanted. There was this big sense within me that I just wanted to feel better about myself. I wanted my external experience to be better. And I just wanted to be happy and confident and cool and popular and successful and rich and talented and all these kind of things, right? And you know what, like along the way, I have achieved those things and it's been effortless and no sense of doing to it. Whereas before, I really felt like I had to really think about how I dressed or really think about how I acted. And now it's just very easy, just showing up. But I reached a point where, having read so much in terms of spiritual guidance and A Course in Miracles and Byron Katie and stuff like that, and it was particularly Byron Katie, where she just kept referencing that, you know, that she knew she was one with everyone, that there wasn't any sense of separation. And I realized that the self-love journey that I'd been following, which had started this, you know, every day saying affirmations, all these gratitudes. I'm grateful for my body, I'm grateful for my hair, and all these kind of things, as well as the meditation and the self-inquiry. But I've been doing this self-love journey, which there's nothing wrong with doing, and I'm so grateful for doing it because it's brought me to this point. But I had created such a strong sense of identity in Flo. I loved Flo. I thought Flo was great and that her life was great, but it came at a fault because I thought Flo was so great that she couldn't accept any less than what she was. And I was judgmental of other people and other experiences because I didn't think they lived up to Flo's expectation and the level that Flo was at. And I was creating this sense of subtle separation, right? That I just thought, I'm here, and unless you're here on this level, I can't relate to you, or I can't be in a relationship with you, or I can't have a deep friendship with you. There was this lack of acceptance because I thought I was so great. I'd also had all these spiritual realizations, and being so young on this path, when you meet other people, they would say to me, oh my God, like, it's so great that you're so young and you know all these things. And that just kept perpetuating this sense of specialness, right? Of separation. I was very lucky to meet someone who's fully awakened, who had just started doing teachings, and his work was great. And I had a direct pointing with him where I collapsed space. And this was a big shift for me because I had been keeping up this understanding that I was like here and that life was coming into Flo as the center point. Whereas that's actually not true. That is just a perpetual belief that we've created because the mind is creating that. There isn't really a center point. I can't locate the center of consciousness within this body. It's not behind the eyes. It's not within the chest. You can't find a center point to it. So therefore it can't be here. It can't be located here. And when you collapse space and you see that this sense of distance is, again, it's created in the mind. The mind looks out, sees an image, fills in these shadows, this depth, and then it filters it back here into this point. And again, that's happening here. That's not happening over there. It's going, look, reflect back, filter, see. It's all happening here. And I collapsed space in that moment. I saw that everything actually was 2D and I was filling in all the gaps. And in that moment, I saw how I wasn't separate from anybody, because in that 2D painting, mural, that was the world, I saw that consciousness was that, like a big flat screen. It wasn't this pinpoint thing that I had been continuously focusing on in my meditations. It's like feeling that it was like here, as like everything was zooming into this sort of triangle point at the top. but actually it was everything. And having that realization was obviously very useful for triggering it. But, you know, just because I'd seen it didn't mean that I took it on and it became my experience forevermore. No, I had to work at it, and it really scared me. It really, really scared me, because I thought I was flow and that I would see that flow was in everything. But I started to see flow isn't real. She doesn't exist, and she's gonna die one day. And then what was gonna happen? I'm not gonna be here. I'm gonna cease to exist. Is that true? So I started to look at, in my meditations, where was it that flow ended? I'd rest back. I'd look. Could I be really certain that flow ended at this point? Because if flow ended here, then what's all of this about? To know where something is, to be like, that's its location, it has to be there forevermore. It can't move. It can't change. It can't differentiate. Like, it has to be there. So maybe flow doesn't end at this point. I would start to see. I can't see where flow actually ends. But, you know, I feel this sense of flow, like, you know, this body has got weight, it's got heaviness. Okay. I'd look, where is it that flow ends and the bed starts? There has to be a pinpoint location as to where that is, for it to show that flow is separate to everything. And as I started doing this, this realization started to form, which is, if flow was separate to everything, to space, to the formless space, to the bed, you know, if any object was separate to formlessness, it would mean that when you removed it from a room, you know, I removed myself from this bed, so I moved my arm. If I was separate to formless space, there would be an arm-shaped hole here. Maybe black nothingness, I don't know what it would be, but if I was separate to this experience, to this reality, every time I moved away or I moved, there would be a hole, there'd be a gap. We'd all be seeing this all the time. But it doesn't happen to anyone and everyone. It doesn't happen, I don't move, you don't move, and then there's a gap, there's a space. Because this is made up of all of this. It's all made up of the same thing.